You have tools, you have crafting, you have crops, you have critters, but it's all working back in on itself. Like, this is not going to nullify our housing's gardening plot, or what I do in the firmament, or the crafting I do to build my disciple of the hand jobs. That's what they're called.
There's gotta be a better way to say that. Well, Kyle, we've got another live letter. The 71st to be exact. We've only done one other live letter up to this point. And while there were plenty of endgame specific bits laden with spoilers, there was also a lot that is of interest to sprouts like us. Are we still sprouts?
Yeah, we're sprouts.
But we're halfway done with Stormblood.
So sprout is when you reach current endgame. So if this was 2017, we would no longer be sprouts. But since it is 2022, we are sprouts.
That's easy to think about.
Yeah, sprout forever goes away should you touch an endgame.
Anyways, today we'll be doing a rundown of spoiler-free 6.2 features that were featured in the live letter that happened today as of recording this. You might be watching this in the future. Hi. Gas is still really expensive in the past. But first, we see the stats. About half of you watching aren't subscribed. Help us out for free and don't miss our next video or our next stream or streams, because we do it more than once a week. Help out our next video by, click that subscribe button. Come join us here in Grinding Gear. It's nice in here.
I feel like subscribing.
So, Kyle, this came to us via Blowfog and Dorans, if I'm pronouncing those names correctly. Spoiler Light Live Letter 71 document. It just rolls off the tongue. They started with a recap of main features that are coming in patch 6.18, which is hitting on July 5th. But the big one with this, for us anyway, because the rest is like new data centers for Japan and new worlds and European data centers. We're in America. It's not affecting us. But the big thing here is data center travel. Are you playing on North America? Starting next week, you're going to be able to visit our tiny freaking house. Come take a look at it.
Join us in our one pool of moderate size.
Well, hold on, dude. Listen, we got a small, but we have 3 publicly accessible hot tubs.
And we have the whole beach in front of us. Like, do we really even need to go in the house?
Not really.
To go to the tiki bar, yeah. I mean,
well,
you need to at least visit the downstairs.
You got to go take a look. Our interior designers have worked magic. I can't believe how good the space looks. Data center travel is going to be happening. I'm excited for this. This is something we've been talking about basically since we started doing Final Fantasy XIV content. It's coming. It's here. It's basically here.
The thing I want to do is that Eureka business that can take up to a ton of players, and we'll be able to fill out basically the entire zone in one of our live streams. That'd be fabulous.
Yeah, that's right. We've been talking about that as well. Yeah, I hadn't thought about data center travel impacting that, but yeah, considering how big the damn groups can be, that's a big deal. There's a lot of new content coming in with 6.2. If you're an endgame player, obviously, there's going to be new MSQ, there's going to be new side quests, but we're not going to talk about any of that because that's for you endgame players, not for us sprouts. There's also going to be job changes that are targeted for both PvE and PvP, which I now understand when I read a line like that says it's targeting both, because I now understand that PvP has completely different movesets. It's not vague when they're like, oh, we're targeting both. No, it means very literally we're going to mess with both sides of that equation. And also, Kyle, ears up, or maybe ears down, because the planned Astrologian and Dragoon reworks have been postponed.
I have no idea what that means. It's weird to hear from the outside that Astrologian is about to receive yet another large update because they got so retooled for Shadowbringer, I believe, having their entire card system switched around. Maybe what some would say homogenized, but the trolling was removed, as I've sort of studied up on. Interesting. Since we did our last live letter reporting, I fell in love with the PvP. I love Crystal Conflict. I think it is a blast. I love that the jobs are completely different.
I think it's serviceable.
The abilities are very MOBA-like. There's a lot of fun to be had. I'm playing Samurai, so there's a really, really fun sort of exchange with a hit me, you get a debuff on you, and I kill you instantly kind of thing that's just really, really enjoyable. I am loving it. I want them to open it up for friends. I understand, like, balance and win trading, and that whole PvP scene has seen a lot of trouble over the years. But I hope that update's on its way because I want to play with you on the same team. That'd be a blast.
Same. I find it fun enough. It is not something I just want to grind over and over and over again alone. It's the kind of thing where if I could do it with friends, or at the very least one other friend, I could totally see myself spending hours on end just slamming game after game. But yeah, PvP's always been a pretty social thing for me, and PvP in Final Fantasy XIV is horrendously antisocial. But if you're excited about PvP, then you'll probably be excited about the fact that there's all kinds of PvP stuff coming. Series 2 is going to begin, and then Crystalline Conflict Season 3 will also be following in suit. Season 2 is going to essentially branch from the 6.18 patch that is dropping imminently on July 5th and the 6.2 launch. So essentially, it's going to run from July until August. We don't have an exact date for 6.2 yet, but they said August.
So the seasons are separate from the battle pass, kind of quote unquote, that we get the armor from. So there's still time, Garrett. If one of these seasons brings in an update where we can play together, hopefully before August, we could still get that sweet armor together.
I don't think that's going to happen, dude.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think they would have teased it here if it was even like a thought on the horizon. I think they would have teased it.
It's just so much fun. In my current leveling position, the biggest shame about PvP for me, because I actually don't mind playing it by myself, is that none of my skills translate. I am becoming better at PvP. It perhaps even makes me worse at PvE. Completely different abilities, completely different skill set.
And then there's more large-scale PvP, I guess, returning. It's just I've never played it. And
well, you couldn't during the big PvP update. Hasn't been available to us.
Right, but Rival Wings is coming back, which made me go, hey, Google, what the hell is Rival Wings? And turns out, I guess it's like a 48-player large-scale thing, but you're divided into 2 teams comprised of 6 light parties each. So it's a ton of players throwing down.
And Rival Wings was suggested to us as something we'd really enjoy coming from MOBAs, because there is kind of a move around with the AI enemies and push the lanes element to it. Front lines are bad. There may be a world where like you're black mage or your summoner and you just want to see like AoEs go off in lots of numbers. I tried it as a melee DPS samurai. Absolutely miserable. Had zero interest in going back in there. But I could see the Alterac Valley kind of appeal of like AoEing the crowds.
I've never played a MOBA with 48 players. I don't know how this could possibly be like a MOBA, but
I don't really understand either, other than I think you push with like AI minions, you know, they're sort of lane creeps in there with you.
I'm sure we'll find out at a later date. Maybe. If I can be worn down. If I can come down from my PvP grump mountain. So our first live letter was the last one, and one of the big things that came in with that and with the last patch was duty support for Realm Reborn dungeons. And a big part of 6.2 is going to be duty support being added to even more dungeons as we get into Heaven's Ward. So your Snowcloak, Keeper of the Lake, Sawmaul, Airy, Vault, those are all going to be added to duty support, or duty support is going to be added to those dungeons. They're also making Steps of Faith a solo instance.
Whoa.
Is it that big of a deal?
Steps of Faith was really lame.
It was, yeah, yes.
No, it's a super cool idea. Like the whole idea of the dragon marching toward the city, like it was very cool. But as a new player, what happened was you stood under the dragon having no idea what was happening, while other people ran around and pressed all the buttons because they know what to do. And you basically felt like you got carried through a great story moment. This is really exciting. I love this idea, particularly if we're the one running around, hitting the buttons, the cannons, or honestly, whatever the heck people were doing, because I never got it again in a roulette. So I've never seen this twice. Just the once for the story.
I never want to get it again in a roulette.
No.
So this is a win-win.
Yeah, I think that sounds great.
There's also something a little vague, maybe vaguely threatening, depending on your opinion. But Thorn March is going to be revamped. But they were pretty mum as to how.
Huh.
What are they doing to Good King Moogle, Kyle? They better not revamp the music.
No, they couldn't possibly. It's too good. I could totally see a revamp for difficulty curve. You finish A Realm Reborn, you've seen some stuff, but Good King Moogle just comes out of left field. The sheer amount of targets and explosions are completely overwhelming. And yeah, I mean, Leviathan has some mechanics, but nowhere compared to just the onslaught of Good King Moogle. I would suspect that this is getting toned down. And, maybe visually improved. It is a mess of graphics.
Possibly. Yeah, Tone Down seems to be the biggest candidate for me. If not possibly reordered, I could see it moving to a different part in the story so that patch A Realm Reborn starts off on a bigger note, but I don't know if they've ever done anything like that.
We know that they've removed quests, such as finding Minfilia's mom was like huge in the past. And it was like 3 quests for us. I don't think they've straight up removed any trials. Is there anything like truly mind-bending about Good King Moogle? Like, does it really introduce new information? It's pretty much that the Moogles summoned a primal. It's not like that's completely new. The fishmen summon Leviathan, the lizardmen summon Ifrit. Like, it's not like we aren't aware that things can summon things. So maybe they could just pick up King Moogle and like just put it outside the story with Gilgamesh and all those kind of A Realm Reborn relics.
There's I guess there's an argument for that. I mean, for me, it like made me realize that the Moogles could be a threat because I kind of just thought they were cute little side creatures before then. And I was like, oh, damn, now we got to worry about the Moogles too. It did expand the world a little bit for me, but it does seem so out of place after the first set of credits for A Realm Reborn.
I mean, I'd be sad if they did that just because it's part of the flavor cornucopia, the sampling that A Realm Reborn post-patch content has. I mean, yeah, like Gigabeard next to it. There are some random battles, but the primal fights are really my favorite thing in this game. And I'd be sad if they limited them even for
the sake of flow.
Yeah, for the sake of flow, like to get you into Heavensward because Heavensward's so good, that's where it nabs you.
I don't know. I also like how Final Fantasy XIV does humor and goofiness with a side of epic. So I don't want it to go away entirely. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I'm happy they're expanding the duty support system. I want an update on like the speed because honestly, the DPS is a little low. It's a great opportunity to learn tank and healing and really get your feet in that water. But unless you're DPSing there, it can be a bit laborious. And I love that they're adding like Keeper of the Lake. Like some of these have really high difficulty spikes in tanking and learning those mechanics. But I personally would be kind of turned off by the speed. And maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want you to kind of feel it and be like, yeah, this is okay. But it'd be really fun is doing this with other people. And then you go join the ecosystem.
Yeah, that might be the point. I have no interest in this at all. I haven't used it. I'm glad that it's there for the people who want it. Give me real people, even if they don't think I pull enough things when I've pulled half the dungeon. All right, the big thing here for me, Kyle, and I assume for you, is we got a pretty detailed overview of the Island Sanctuary content that'll be coming in 6.2.
You're wrong.
Oh.
Sell me, Garrett, because I don't care about Farmville. This sounds like a Facebook game. I have no idea what this is. The only part that appeals to me is the idea that my little minions would wander around the island, but I have no idea what this is.
That is 100% the thing that makes me excited because now they've got that tech. And even if I never go to the Island Sanctuary again, I can now request that they add that tech to my personal quarters.
What? Oh,
I want my pets to just run around. Let me, our personal quarters are small. Set a max, like maybe 5 or 10, and I gotta, set your favorites, and your favorites are just running around.
Listen, this is very popular content. I know that people love Animal Crossing and these sorts of games. Unless my Animal Crossing island is under attack and I build turrets, I do not care. Now, make my island sanctuary a sanctuary with walls and turrets, and I have to feed supplies into the cannons like I'm so there 24/7. But this just sounds like Pandaria farming, and I don't want to water anything.
I actually think it rather sounds like a garrison, because it seems like it's solo personalized, like a solo personal place to go that is not player housing. right?
Okay.
Because before this, I didn't really know. I just kept hearing Island Sanctuary thrown around. You even mentioned it a few times when we were talking about housing. And so my brain went, wait, is Island Sanctuary going to be like individual housing for people that can't get housing in the actual housing districts? And so for me, this overview was the first time I've really seen a detailed explanation of exactly what it's going to be. And no, it is not going to be housing. It is, to me, more akin to something like Warlords of Draenor's garrisons. I'm going to defend it, though, Kyle. There's a big difference.
Don't just defend it. Don't just defend it. Sell me. Because
I'm not here to say. So, okay, I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. We'll see. I do like Animal Crossing. I love The Sims. I love all that kind of stuff. So if this is well executed, I'm probably going to vibe on this pretty hard. If it's kind of light and shallow, probably not going to be my thing either. But your eyeballs almost shot off the top of your damn forehead when I said garrisons, and I'm just going to say, even if this was a 1-to-1, it was like basically the same thing. There's a big difference between how this is being deployed versus how garrisons were deployed. Do you know what that difference is, Kyle? You don't have to interface with it if you don't want to.
Oh, right.
Garrisons were a core part of playing through Warlords of Draenor. You couldn't play through that expansion without heavily interacting with your garrisons. So even though this is like essentially the way it's described makes it sound like it's an instance island that I go to that you can come to as well. But if you go off to an island by yourself, that's your island.
Okay. So it's a chill place.
I'm really just making a case for Final Fantasy XIV as a whole, Kyle, because island sanctuaries are the same as basically everything else in Final Fantasy XIV. It is there if you want to interact with it, but they're not forcing you to do it for meaningful power gains.
So seems like from this description and these slides, Island Sanctuaries builds on itself. Essentially what you just said, I will not have to do this, which is grand. I'm not a huge fan of a game telling me what I must do each evening, and Final Fantasy's been really, really good about that. I have a plethora of activities I could engage in, and I pick and choose each night what I want to do. You have tools, you have crafting, you have crops, you have critters, but it's all working back in on itself. Like, this is not going to nullify our housing's gardening plot or what I do in the firmament.
A lot of stuff here is piquing my interest, and again, it sounds entirely optional. But the fact that I can collect creatures, and there's going to be variants and rare versions of those creatures, I like Pokemon.
Invade my island. Do it.
You just want tower defense.
That's all I want, yeah. Factorio, tower defense, I love that stuff so much.
Well, anyways, for me, minions wandering around and getting to collect creatures is a big selling point for me. It sounds interesting, kind of scratches a couple different gaming itches of mine while within Final Fantasy XIV. I tend to not like farming outside of, what's the farming game that I bought like 3 different times?
Ville?
No.
Tractor Simulator?
No. Stardew Valley.
Oh, Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley is about the only farming game I've ever really liked. But
the combat sucks.
I like
I get in
the
trouble
combat
ripping
does
on
not suck.
It does, man.
It is
OG
Zelda combat. What's wrong with OG Zelda combat?
Now, Moonlighter, that had decent Zelda combat. You should actually try Moonlighter. I think you'd like it.
Googling Moonlighter in the background.
Moonlighter is you run a shop, you go dungeoning, and then you bring that stuff back to a shop and you run the shop and you sell the stuff that you got in the dungeon.
Shit, this does actually look really cool.
It's really fun. It's really chill.
This looks like I get lost in it.
Much more interesting.
I want to be a grump and tell you to shove that game I never heard of up your ass if you're going to talk about Stardew Valley. The combat in Stardew Valley controls like Zelda NES combat, and there's nothing wrong with that. It sounds like in 6.2 that adventure plates and portraits are coming out of beta and going into official release, but all portraits made during 6.1 are going to be lost. So if you took a lot of time to perfectly line up the most perverted screenshot you could possibly muster, you're going to have to do that all over again.
Shame that.
Y'all are the thirstiest bunch of gamers I've ever played with.
We already knew that before Adventure Plates came out.
They just gave us one more tool to be extremely thirsty, Kyle. Oh, I like copying and pasting of portrait settings to be added. I'm just now seeing this now as we're recording. That sounds nice.
Well, so could someone come up with a really good portrait and then share a code?
They don't use the word share. I think it's for yourself.
Okay, move it between.
Like, so you can get your PvP portrait to look the same as your non-PvP portrait or vice versa is how I'm interpreting that.
You can add it to your Mahjong now.
I didn't know I could play Mahjong in Final Fantasy XIV.
Dude, there's a huge Mahjong community.
And then there's all kinds of other miscellaneous new things going on. There's going to be new high item level gear. There's going to be revamps, actions and traits menu. But Kyle, are you ready for the single most important thing coming in 6.2?
Bring in.
The glamour dresser capacity is being doubled to 800.
I'm so spoiled, man. I just showed up for this game. I feel like the number one complaint in this game is the limitations of the glamour. And it's just been expanding the whole time we've been here. What a time to be alive.
I'm getting dangerously close to a full glamour chest already.
Oh,
and
real? Wow.
I'm already in Stormblood. I'm only in Stormblood. And I'm only also, like, I'm only keeping stuff for my Dark Knight and for my Summoner. I'm going to be getting more jobs, Kyle. I'm working on Ninja in the background. I got to start keeping that gear.
Yeah, you must be keeping everything then.
Not everything, but damn close.
Yeah. You got to pick and choose. You got to really decide your outfits.
But I don't want to.
Well, now you won't have to as much.
I refuse to choose. I need at least 800 spots before I can be forced to pare things down. And then other than that, it was just looking forward. They said that Live Letter 72 is going to contain parts, essentially part 2 of 6.2 news, and most likely include a patch trailer, which I'm not going to watch.
Visual spoilers are a no-go.
Not going to get myself spoiled. When I'm current, I will watch trailers. But if I know by the time I get there, I can just run and go experience whatever's new to me for the first time and I have not seen it before, that's what I want. So, Kyle, of everything that we talked about, what are you most excited for?
Probably the PvP update. I think that game system is really, really fun. I'm curious to see what their plans are, to see how Rival Wings is. I mean, if there's a whole nother mode for me to play and I enjoy it, heck yeah, that's awesome. I'm curious about the Astrologian update. I don't really know what that's about, but I love the class.
It was postponed, so it's not coming in 6.2.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to wonder for it a little bit longer. Islands could have, it has the potential to be something that I really enjoy. It seems to have have cut a lot of cloth from other vibe games, chill games that I really enjoy. But at the same time, I could also see it being something that I don't interface with a lot. I don't really know until I actually get to play it. It seems like it's pretty fully featured though. So that's interesting, but really it just comes down to that glamour dresser. I'm very excited that I get to continue being a hopeless pack rat, but a well-dressed pack rat.
Hoarder's Eorzea edition.
Are you a hoarder if it's well organized and tucked away in a very small, bending the laws of space, time, and physics chest?
No, good point. That's called the collector.
There you go. Thank you. And thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell to get the latest uploads from Kyle and me. New uploads go out every Wednesday morning, and we stream on this YouTube channel every Monday afternoon and Thursday evening. So thanks for watching, everybody. And until next time, GG.